Guys, listen. How long would you allow your abuser to keep abusing you before you speak up? Is it when you are dead? Do you know who dies does not speak? Who dies does not defend themselves? How long would you wait for that abuser to punish you and act like the victim? How long would you wait for your abuser to take everything that God has given you away from you? How long will you wait for your abuser to take away your peace, your joy, your sleep, your love, your laughter? These are things that God gave to you free of charge. You don't need to pay for it. But right now, someone has taken it away from you. How long would you wait for that? Speak up and get help. Share this video. Follow the page. Let people know about it. We're talking about a real life story. There is no cook up here. We're not cooking up nothing. We're saying it as raw as it is. People are still embossing me in my page, trying to make me stop it. That tomorrow you will settle with him and go back. I'm not set. I have forgiven him. I have moved on. But one thing I cannot do is making the mistake of going back to the abuser, because the abuse will be higher than what it used to be. Yes. I could remember the first time the abuse was too much and I left. This guy traced me to where I rented an apartment. Traced me down there. He went to the pastors. Those pastors are listening to me right now. Those elders are listening to me right now. He went to them. He talked to them. And they begged me. My family was involved in it. And I went back. When I went back, the abuse became ×2. To the extent that he's putting it to my face. That I thought you ran away. You see your back. Stupid woman. Think you will run. Where do you think you're going to run to? I'll deal with you. He was so blunt to that extent. You know, I got inspired more when one of his tenants, a female tenant that he sleeps with, and when the tenant refused to pay money, he beat up this tenant mercilessly, and she called the cops on him. So I was at the back of the house when the security man came to tell me that people came to kidnap him. And I paused. I said, kidnap him? I didn't want to move because I was like, God, thank you. At last I will have my peace. But on the second thought, if it was really a kidnap, if I don't move, his family would think I'm involved in it. And that was how I started moving from one police station to the other police station. They would refer me to this other police station, and I went to the one that is on Moscow Road. Those that are in Port Harcourt know about the Moscow Road police station. I went all the way there. They radio all the police stations in Port Harcourt with his description. That was where we found out that he was he was arrested by a special squad. We went there with his cousin. His cousin's name is Emmanuel. The guy, in fact, I applaud him. He's a good guy. He's a good guy. And I went there. I went there with him. Fortunately, the DPO in charge of that squad is a friend to his cousin. And that was how he was released that night. And we went back home. Coming back in the morning, because we had to report to the police station in the morning, we went back there. You know what the DPO there saw me, when he saw me, what he said? He said, oh my God, this guy is nothing close to being your husband. You're so gentle, you're a different kind of breed. How can he be like an animal? beating up a girl, and these girls are small girls compared to his age. And you know, there was a judgment. A judgment was passed. And the judgment that was passed was, he's going to pay them 250,000 naira as a den. Then those girls will live in his house for 6 months without payment. Those things inspired me. I said, if a woman can stand her ground without taking abuse from a man. I was married to him. I was not sold to him. I put my life in the line. I gave birth to the first child through CS, the second child through CS, the third child through CS. Anything could have happened because there was a thin line between life and death. And I said to myself, if I don't stand up for myself, nobody's going to stand up for me. I could remember when my mom died. My son was just 3 months old. My mom died in my presence. And the death and the transitioning, I could not comprehend. I came back. And I went straight to the visitor's room. I cried. I never knew that I was there up till 4 a.m. And usually he doesn't stay in the house. He goes out and comes back between 4 a.m. and 5 a.m. in the morning. When he came, he didn't see me upstairs. He knew I should be in the visitor's room. He came there. When he saw me, do you know what he told me? I was expecting, at that moment, I was sorrowed. I was expecting someone I can cry on their shoulder. I was expecting someone to say, console me. He told me, you there, you're crying. What are you still doing? Do you know what the time is? Will you stand up and go upstairs and go and see your son? You're here crying. This guy killed me. He killed me. It was at that point I said, enough is enough. My spirit went away from that marriage. Even though my body was there, my spirit was out of that marriage. I said, this is the height of it. This is the height of it. You could not console me. That was the closest person to me. She was the closest person to me. At that point, I needed to cry on somebody's shoulder. He shoved me away. He pushed me away. I was crying and crying and crying. I couldn't stop. Tears became the order of the day. One of his friends came, Mr. Owuru. I have to mention his name because he's aware of this. Mr. Owuru came and he reported me that he doesn't know what I'm crying about. And Mr. Owuru came and asked me. I could not even say anything to Mr. Owuru. I was crying. So Mr. Owuru now said, okay. And I was able to tell him a little bit. So he said, okay, you know what? Give me your phone. Let me put my number in it. Anytime he behaves like that again, call me. While Mr. Owuru was putting his number in my phone, he pushed me in the garden. In the presence of his friend, Mr. Owuru. He's alive. People should go and ask him. And that was the last day Mr. Owuru came to the house. He said he will never come to the house again. Because that was disrespectful. He used to do it in the secret. He did it in his presence. Anyway, guys, more are coming.